What's up YouTube? This is GalacticGod and welcome to another one of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Top 5s. Now of course it is impossible to know when Konami is going to actually update the Forbidden/Limited list. They just do not share that kind of information with the player base any longer. But by taking a look at past formats, we can tell that Konami normally updates the list about every 3 to 4 months, and we're coming up upon that time frame. So I thought now would be a great time to talk about the top 5 cards that I would like to see come off of the ban list. Okay, so starting us off at the number 5 spot is a card that has been on there for way too long. I'm talking about Stein. I feel like Stein has been put on the list almost since its initial release here in the TCG. It is one of the few cards that were deemed so powerful that Konami actually banned it mid-format. This was so unheard of back in the day that it really pushed Stein to almost legendary status. But does this card truly need to remain on the Forbidden list? Is the OTK that was associated with it back in the day still so powerful that it cannot be contended with in today's meta? Personally, I think not. I mean, if you take a look at the OCG, not only is Stein off the list, but it's put back to 3 copies per deck. It is unlimited. Yet, oddly enough, over here in the TCG, it still remains banned. This is a card I'm sure a lot of duelists would love to see brought back to them, and I, for one, hope that Stein finally returns to us on this next list. Coming into the number 4 spot is another card that I believe has been on for way too long. I'm talking about Thousand Eyes Restrict. Now during the GO format, no one could deny how powerful this card was. Combined with Tsukiyomi, it was almost an unbreakable wall. But much like Stein, the game has evolved since that time, and the decks move just way too fast to keep up with that style of play. In my opinion, even though Thousand Eyes Restrict could still be a really good card, it will not be meta or game defining. Plus it would be another really good instant fusion target. Because of those reasons, I really think that Thousand Eyes Restrict should come off of the list. Coming in at the number 3 spot is the only Xyz monster on the list. I'm talking about Windup Carrier Zenmighty. Now of course, years ago this card was an essential piece to the Windup combo. But realistically, Windups are just not as powerful as they once were. And if the worst thing that can happen by giving them back Zenmighty is them being able to compete at that lower level, I just don't see a reason why it shouldn't come back. Coming in at the number 2 spot is everyone's favorite E-Hero monster. I'm talking about Elemental Hero Stratos. Now hero players have been crying for years now about why Stratos is still imprisoned on the Forbidden list. Many duelists scratch their heads as there is a plethora of cards out there that give you a +1 upon being summoned. But Konami over here in the TCG just seems to love trolling the hero player base. Personally, I would love to see him come off of the ban list. Plus, I have a feeling I'm not alone in this thought. Finally, coming in at the number 1 spot is a card that I think might surprise a few people, and it's Pot of Avarice. Now there was a point in this game when Pot of Avarice was at 3 copies per deck. Of course, this was in a much slower format when you couldn't use Pot of Avarice as quickly. But with the way that the game has changed, seemingly leaning more towards pendulum-based decks, returning 5 monsters from the graveyard is not something that every deck can accomplish, thus making the card maybe not quite as broken as it once was. Plus, the way that Konami now does the Forbidden/Limited list, if Pot of Avarice is too broken to keep in the game, they can merely make a quick change to the list. So if in 2 weeks after it came off, it truly broke the game, it could immediately be put back on. Because of that, I would like to see Pot of Avarice get its time to shine once again in today's format. Alright YouTube, and there you have it. Those are my picks for the top 5 cards that I personally would like to see come off of the ban list. Now of course, they may differ from the ones that you would choose, so I encourage you to let me know what you would pick down in the comment section below. And I guess that's going to do it for now. This is GalacticGod, out.